Well, you will need to brace up for tonight's conversation. It concerns a series of events that have been unfolding in Imo State over the past 3 days now. Well, it didn't just start, really, but the latest events have again raised the political temperature in that state to fever pitch. It's the arrest and eventual release of the former governorship candidate in the state, Mr. Uchenwoso, in what has been described as Gestapo manner in a church right in the middle of a memorial service for his mother. But this has again opened another can of worms, and we'll seek to get to the bottom of it on the program tonight. And to do that with us, we're joined by a former governor of Imo State, a senator representing Imo West Senatorial District in the 9th Senate, also a founding chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. Senator Rochas joins us on the program virtually tonight. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us on Politics Today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, so much has happened within these 3 days, and I know you have quite a lot to unpack on this, but let's begin this way. The people of Imo State have been watching the recent string of events, some of them pretty anxiously. They don't know what's coming next. So perhaps as a way to help diffuse the tension first, what would you say to your people tonight to assure them and calm the nerves that may have been building at this time?
Well, what's happening in Imo State is rather unfortunate. And when I say it's unfortunate, it is really, really very, very unfortunate that Imo State has to go through what it is going through at this very crucial moment in our nation's history. And it's not just about Imo State, it's about the entire nation, and by extension, the entire humanity. What is happening in Imo State is too serious that Imo State looks like it's becoming a banana republic where there's complete lawlessness and where people live in fear and they're not sure of what happens the next day. There's no day that passes without somebody being killed and people being harassed. And it seems everybody's living in fear. Nobody can speak out. It appears to most people, unfortunately, as if though the happiness in Imo State has some kind of backings from Abuja. And that's what I could figure out. And there seemed to be enmity between the people here and the presumed federal government of Nigeria, just because of the communication gap. But thank God this is getting to be unraveled now with the recent happenings, especially with the arrest of Ugumba Uchenwoso in the church in Nkwere, local government of Imo State, which ugly scene is reported in social media and newspapers and in all television stations of something that has never happened in the history of mankind, that police officers wearing hood, masks, could walk into the church, shooting sporadically, to arrest an individual they have never invited, an individual that have not sent a text to come, and pushing down my wife and my daughter, tearing their dresses and whisking, abducting the gentleman and beating him up and tearing him up. And it's a very ugly, ugly, ugly situation, ugly story. And the story of what happened to Uchenwoso is still a horror to behold. And this is what is taking different dimensions. And first dimension is the issue of the church, which is left for the church actually to talk about. The discretion of church is a huge, major spiritual issue. So I think the church will be left to handle that. But my concern is not just about the church, discretion of the church. That is a very spiritual, strong spiritual matter, which could cause major mayhem, if you like. Because if this has happened in other parts of this country, I'm sure by now the nation would have been at a total mess because of this single act. But that is not even the issue. I think the church will have to address that. But my concern is that there's something that has to be unraveled. And I'm sure you must have been hearing about unknown gunmen in Imo State. This is where the story of unknown gunmen started. And most people have been wondering the mystery behind unknown gunmen. But it appears, though, to me now, that unknown gunmen has finally been unraveled with the recent happenings. And what is the unknown gunmen from what happened to Uche Nwosu? Unknown gunmen now was a set of policemen from government house who, without the consent of the commissioner of police, without the consent of the inspector of police, without the consent of the DIGs and the charge, nobody on their own, from the instruction of the government of the Imo State led by Hope Uzodinma and the CSO Shaba, that gives directives to go and arrest people at will and lock them up at will, and sometimes what about these people are not. So gradually something is becoming to unravel, and that is the good news about this. And to shock you, and to shock the whole world, is that this same Shaba and his governor are in the business of, getting policemen from government house to go and execute an unholy act. And when they run into trouble, they quickly say it is police. So right now, they have carefully put the image of the police and federal government of Nigeria at stake as to prove to themselves why the police should send people to go to church to arrest somebody, and which is now not IG definitely. But now, when the governor does that, when he gets into trouble, he said the police. That's the situation we find. So the unknown government now is getting to be clear. And what might surprise you is that the killing of Golak will soon be unraveled by what has happened recently. And the 150 people that are left unaccounted for bodies at the Federal Medical Center in Owerri will also be unraveled, because till now there have been a lot of cover-up in Imo State, where nobody seems to know what is happening. People are dead. Nobody's coming to claim them. And if you claim them, they are shot, they are killed. So a lot of things are going to be unraveled. I think the mystery is because the war was taking place of that.
Right.
So asking me, what would the Imo people, how does the Imo people feel? Imo people are still in fear, and there's need to assuage their fear seriously, and it will take the intervention of the federal government of Nigeria.
Right. So we'll still try to unpack that side of the conversation, but still on the arrest and eventual release of Mr. Nwosu. Yes, he's been released. He's spoken to the press about his experience at the hands of those who took him in. But just to be clear on this matter, what are the questions yet to be answered for you, by extension, your family, on this particular matter?
Well, there are a lot of questions to be answered, but the first question to be asked is, why the hate? What is in the interest of the government of Imo State and Rochas and Hope and what concerns them? That I've not been able to. Why the hate? Why the envy? That I've not been able to answer. Another question I will ask that: why should a governor? I have been a governor for 8 years. Why should a governor assume the position of Inspector General of Police by giving directive to police officer under him to go and commit an act? I have not answered. Nobody has answered the question. Why should the governor become the chief judge of the state or the judge to issue arrest warrant from government house? Why should governor go to church, ask him to go to church and arrest somebody and bring the person to government house and take him to Enugu and charter a private jet? Why should the governor charter a private jet to take somebody as arrested to take him to Abuja? And what is it really? And I can understand. Because if you had listened to Uche Nwosu, this phone call this evening would have been a condolence message. God forbid. But oh, sorry, such as will out of what happened to your in-law. God forbid. I reject that in Jesus' name. Because when this young man took him out and took him to Njaba Bridge, they first of all brought him out and cocked their gun to shoot him. And they were, what saved Uche Nwosu was social media. That said, oh, this has come to social media, and they became a bit scared and communicated back to Shab, not knowing that Uche Nwosu hears outside very well. Then when they went to government house and the vehicle turned, they left him with only one car driving to Enugu. In Okigwe, a road to Enugu, they also spoke in Hausa saying, can we now shoot his leg or shoot his hand towards him? In the process of running, let's finish him and go. The same policeman. When they said that, then he asked me in Hausa, Why do you want to kill him? What have I done? The people were shocked. Do you speak Hausa? That's how they took him and put him on the face mask with face cap so nobody can disguise him and carry him like a criminal into a private jet to Abuja. But I'm sure, 100% sure that IG from my communication with him never knew of all these things. And I'm patiently waiting for what police will say on this particular matter.
Now, on that point, Your Excellency.
So what I'm trying...
You can land on that.
Come again?
Okay, let me just put in the question. I was expecting that you land on the point, but on the the timeline and the details of what exactly transpired. Pardon me. So you said we're in possession of the interview you granted on Sunday, where you said preliminary that you had spoken with the Commissioner of Police in the state who confirmed that the order came from Abuja. That was on Sunday. And then Mr. Nwosu came out and said that he doubts that the IGP was in fact aware of what was playing out. So really, have you been able to clarify who gave that order? If you said that the commissioner said it came from Abuja, Mr. Nwosu says it looks like the IGP is not aware, then who do we believe?
Okay. Now, in my curiosity, because at first, what we understood was the kidnap, was an abduction, because it was an unprofessional way of arrest. Without arrest warrant, without invitation, in a church shooting. So when I had that, I called on the Commissioner of Police before. I said, Commissioner of Police. In fact, the first I called his phone more than 5 times and he wasn't going through. Eventually, when he came, his phone came on and I spoke with him. He said he's out, that it's actually the Uche is with the police. I said, are you aware of it? He said he's not aware of it. He told clearly, he said he wasn't aware of that. Then he said the young men must have come from Abuja. Then I called from Abuja. And I spoke with the IG myself, and the IG also said he wasn't aware of the arrest. So at that point, I became curious as to what happened. But I think the police is still investigating this matter, and the police will be in a better position, the IG will be in a better position to say who then, or who are the people that actually conducted this arrest. But all that we have found out later from submissions and from the people that came were people from the government house, accompanied by a military vehicle that is also always in the convoy of the governor. It's a popular military vehicle that's always in the convoy of the governor. That's the one that accompanied these people. And when they took Uche, at the government round the habit, these vehicles went back to the government house and left him with the black Jeep, either it is Ford or Q7, I don't know what it is, that took him straight to Enugu alone, with 4 policemen inside. And you could see why they were inside. They undressed, they removed the many torn part of his clothes, took picture of him inside the car and sent back to the government house, and they put that on social media. And so it is a complicated matter. But what I'm saying to you is that unknown gunmen have been raveled in the state by the grace of God. And I think it's because of an attack on the house of God that has revealed this. So as it stands now, it is obvious that the people are under the directive of the government of Imo State, led by Governor Hope, who has led these people. And how do I have this? I have had a similar experience. The same Shaba was the person who shot my son-in-law during that my arrest. And the boy's legs crossed scattered. He was in the US for 4 months. The same Shaba, I saw him. And in my own case, during that time also, a young Hausa boy from the government house who came and met me towards the evening, spoke to me in Hausa. I said, Rankede, Maza capital Kashiga Mota. Kashiga Mota Baza Kasheka. And he put back his hood or the mask after speaking to me, meaning, sir, Your Excellency, quickly move out of this place. They will kill you. So it is obvious that the squad of policemen in government house is used for killing purposes, or for committing an unholy act. So the unknown government in Imo State is gradually coming out. Because most of the time, IPOP will say they're not the one. And look at the way people are being killed. Look at the traditional leaders being killed. Look at 104 people being killed that are in this thing. Every day there's killing. Every day people are beheaded. And to tell you that even the recent discovery of a camp, so from the camp to governor's house is not more than 2 kilometers. And as chief security officer, he doesn't know what's happening in that place. He left a lot to be desired. So Imo might be gradually, an act of God might gradually save Imo State from what is happening. But it requires detailed investigation. And I pray that for the first time in this whole exercise happening, that the federal government of Nigeria, the police IG, will make out time to tell the world the truth. And I have promised myself we're not going to stop on this move until it is unraveled in Imo State.
So speaking of investigation, again, Senator, you can land at that point, so I can quickly put in a couple of questions really to be answered, but if you could just make that point in 10 seconds, so I can put in my question.
No, the point I'm making is that the governor also, ironically, has announced since last week that he's going to let the world know the people behind the IPOB or non-government must tell. He gave the date of 3rd. So the world must wait and hear this governor make a broadcast. Since he assumed the responsibility of the IG to announce to the people who are this unknown government. So we cannot, the truth is gradually coming out. Because from there we'll know who killed Gulag. Gulag's story will come out.
Okay, so let's talk about the investigation. It will come out. So if we could talk about that investigation, because in the interview that Mr. Nwosu granted, he referenced that he was told that a petition was written against him, and he was said, alleged to have been, selling guns to militants. And I just want to ask you, to what extent can you vouch for Mr. Nwosu in this matter?
It's a question of... Mr. Nwosu is as innocent as anybody can think of or you can imagine. But let me tell you even the truth. Mr. Nwosu never slept at the police station. When the private jet took him to Abuja, it was an embarrassment to the entire police. Because nobody sent those little boys. On their own, they acted as IG because the governor, Hope Uzodinma, who is now the Inspector General of Police, gave every instruction, directed everything. And so, what investigation is going on? Uche Nwosu was asked to come back the following day after making statement. But the only thing, these people, they think they're smart. They try to portray some videos. They brought out a video of what happened last 2 months or last month about some criminals they caught either somewhere in Delta. And they interviewed those young men. And the young men confessed, I think everybody watched the killing of a policeman and how they get their arms and what they do, how they get, where they kept the AK-47. Only 1 month after, the same Shabba went and dressed this young man up, cleaned him up, wore him a nice white dress. His hair has grown and kept him now to say, oh, you must say Uche Nwosu. It's so laughable. Uche Nwosu bought arms for you. I'm sure those boys should be made to speak publicly by the Inspector General of Police or by the police commissioner to tell the world who actually told them to do this and how that happened. When this question is answered, the true story of the unknown gunmen in Imo State will come out and we'll now know who is the real murderer, who is the real killer of these innocent people. So investigation-wise, it's left for the Inspector General of Police, who I believe has taken over the matter, which almost have been re-invited to the police again to come and make some statement or identification, I don't know. But for vouching for Uche Nwosu, since I've known Uche Nwosu is a gentleman of an impeccable character. Uche Nwosu cannot hurt an ant. Uche Nwosu cannot hurt an ant. And he has endured more than anyone can endure. He has no pains at all. He has no worries at all. Remember that Uche Nwosu won that election, if you remember. Uche Nwosu won that election. Hope Uzodinma never won that election. Hope Uzodinma came number 4. But for some kind of legal arithmetic, he became a governor who is not the governor of the people, but governor of judicial pronouncement.
Well, as you said earlier, Your Excellency, you remember you said earlier that something is in the realm of the church. Now, this one is in the realm of the courts. But still regarding Mr. Nwosu, to what extent, when I asked you to what extent can you vouch for him, let me just take this further by asking, are you willing to put yourself on the line to defend his innocence, which you are reiterating time and again?
I say, what line is a small word? Can I put myself on the road? On the air? That is down. I can do this. Who can do this to me? Lord is down.
Okay. Well, Your Excellency, can you hear me?
It's okay. I can hear you. I think it's okay now. So
okay, I think we lost you for a moment. Please go ahead.
I say I can vouch for Uche Nwosu with everything in my life. I can vouch for him, even in my sleep. That gentleman cannot even think of evil, let alone try to execute it. But look, let me tell you, my friend, just wait for the next couple of days or week, the truth will come out. Because, having gone to church and released those shots, shooting God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and coming outside and shooting the angels with barrage of gunshots, I'm sure the truth will come. God will speak. God in heaven will speak for Imo State for the first time. And my innocence and the innocence of Uche Nwosu will be declared soon. And the world will know of the truth. Who is the murderer? Who is the killer? Because listen, my friend, listen to me clearly. I was a governor in Imo State for 8 years. And this state was as peaceful as you can think. What went wrong? Where did these people come from? Who actually brought them to So let me tell you, when the wicked or the criminal is in power, people more. That's what is happening in Imo State. So asking whether I can vouch for Uche Nwosu, I can vouch for Uche Nwosu 1 billion times that he cannot, and I'll sign my signature for it. That's my trust for that young man. Right. And that same thing I saw in him. That was what I said I saw in him. That when he became the popular choice of Imo people for governorship, I stood by him. I said I stand by him. And they denied him a ticket that he won. And today, that denial and bringing a wrong person who never won an election has led the state into turmoil.
So you referenced when you were governor, and you have alleged that you think that this order actually came from the government house, from the governor of Imo State. And this will be an order, as it were, to the police. And time and again, we've heard governors say they can't even give orders to police. So is this something that can happen? A governor giving orders to the police to carry out? Is that something you did during your time, such that you know it can be replicated now?
There's what is called abuse of power. This is why abuse of power, absolute abuse of power is what's happening in Imo State. Those police is only to protect the governor and nothing else, and cannot be used to discharge any other function of the police by law. And secondly, the fact that still don't know what the governor tells the presidency and those he has as agents in federal government that makes them release army to him, Air Force to him, Navy to him. This is the only governor in Nigeria who carries Army, Air Force, Navy in his convoy, who lives in armored personnel car, who lives in billion van all the days of his administration and doesn't even come out. This governor cannot come out to the street and walk around the street. I assure you cannot move out. So I don't know, but I think within my conviction that this governor goes ahead to tell president, the presidency, who are open, who have such open mind of listening to every gossip, and tell them, listen to me, let me tell you, the whole Igbos are against President Muhammad Buhari. The whole Igbos are against the Northerners. I'm the only good man. So listen, I will fight them on your behalf. So he set enmity between Igbo people and Abuja and federal government of Nigeria. And they believe him. But the question they ask, when I formed APC and I became the governor, why were not such enmity between Igbos or Imo people and the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It's a creation of the governor of Imo State. It's his creation. And that's why he gave the military cheap. He gave the Navy cheap. Whenever he said, come to Olu and bomb, they give him fighter jets, come and bomb everywhere. The guy is too... I want people, even in this, whatever we do in future, let's check the track record of anybody we are bringing to authority before we mess up this country and mess up the state. People should have asked, who was Hope Uzodinma before becoming governor? We know him in Imo State. You don't know him. Every Imolite knows this. When Hope used to be a driver to Ibekwe, Ibekwe was one who died in EFCC custody under investigation of fraud. He was his driver. What happened? Nobody asked questions. What happened with Hope Uzodinma in the Kaduna, the Calabar dredging project? That file is being hidden. What happened to Hope Uzodinma in NPI Health? What happened? So many stories in customs. These are facts. But yet people say it doesn't matter because we're playing politics. Now, everybody, you cannot change a man's character because he's occupying a political office. If a man is a kind man, if he becomes a governor, you'll be executive kind man. If he's a criminal and becomes a governor, you become executive criminal. So these are some of things we don't check. Parameters of antecedent, track record. This is what is the issue. So right now, we are going to discover it's no longer about Uchenwo's or Rochas and Hope. It's now between police and hope. Either police accept responsibility that they send people to church, or hope accept responsibility that he send the people to church, or either hope accept responsibility that he's the one who sent people to go and arrest Rochas, or IG accept responsibility that he's the one who sent police. They can't divorce in between. Between the Hope Uzodimma and the Nigerian police, one must tell us what went wrong and cannot be swept under the carpet. Just like the bodies of unclaimed bodies at Federal Medical Center, which Archbishop Obinna, a respected Archbishop of Catholic Church, came to the place, inspected, and cried out the word and said there are a lot of bodies unclaimed. What is happening? Masculine.
Well, Your Excellency,
today is covered.
We're due for a break now, but this is like deja vu of some sort because you went through a similar experience earlier in the year. But we need to go to break, and when we return, we'll explore your experience, what came out of it, and of course your relationship with the governor. What went sour, or how did it go sour? We'll answer those questions in a moment. Please stay with us.
There's enough evidence. He should actually bury himself and his face in shame. And if he brings his family to you, then I say both himself and his family, they should bury their faces in shame. Because what they came to do in Imo State was to loot and steal the people's common patrimony. And because this government, ably headed by distinguished Senator Uzodimma, is a government that believes in due process, that is why he has been taking his time to be able to recover these things. Rochas has never believed in due process. He never respected the rule of law. However, I believe that no matter how slow the wheel of justice grinds, it will eventually and ultimately catch up with the guilty. And what former Governor Rochas has done today is only to confirm once again that he is guilty. Otherwise, why the panic? First of all, they were the people who started spreading the news, the rumor that it was an abduction, gunmen. And then later on, shortly after that, you are now accusing the Imo State government. Even when you have confirmed in your own words that the Commissioner of Police confirmed to you that it was order from Abuja, from Inspector General of Police. What anybody who is not guilty and who is not in panic, all he's trying to do is to whip up unnecessary sentiment. But unfortunately for him, those days when he could take Imo people for a ride are gone. Because Imo people now know him as a man who came here and looted them dry. And honestly, in a civilized society, this man should not be walking about the streets free. He should not be talking the way he's talking. He should bury his face in shame, because he was a total disaster to Imo State. And that is why he's in a panic, because he doesn't know what next. If I were him, and if he's somebody who is sure of himself, what he should do is to wait for the due process of law to take its place. Thank God, nobody is taking the laws into his hands. If Uchenwosi is guilty of anything.
We got inside the private jet. The officer that was there said, Oga, that there is a petition against you, and some people mentioned their name. That's why we came to pick you. I said, okay. Was it why I should be humiliated? There was no invitation. Nobody called me. I was humiliated. I was handcuffed as a common criminal. That if there was an invitation, I'm not a criminal, I would have come and I would have answered the call. He said, Oga, but you have not. I said, nobody invited me. When we got to Abuja, they took me straight to STS office, Tactical Squad's office. And at that point in place, the IG now intervened and sent somebody who came, and I was interviewed. I put down my statement. And with the scenario, with what happened, I think the Inspector General of Police was not properly briefed. Everything, all this drama happened inside government house. All the security men that came for this operation were security men attached to the governor of Imo State, masked all of them. There is nothing to identify them. They came with a truck, a military truck, that is part of the governor's convoy. They came with a Ford Jeep that is part of the governor's convoy. I don't think that their intention was to arrest me. Their intention was to illuminate me. Because if their intention was to arrest me, I know the normal police procedure.
Well, you just listened to the Commissioner of Information in Imo State, and the man in the eye of a storm, Mr. Ocho, was speaking to the press after he was released. Well, let's rejoin Senator Rochas Okorocha, former governor of Imo State, on the program tonight. He's been telling his side of the story, essentially. So, Your Excellency, thank you for staying with us. Let me just ask you, just to get this out of the way, do you know or are you aware of any General Banga and a certain individual named Emperor who were arrested by the police and allegedly confessed to being sponsored by Mr. Nwosu? Do you know them in any manner or form?
No. General Banga is a military man or a civilian.
So I'll take it that those names are not names that you're familiar with in any manner or form?
No, not at all.
Right. So let's talk about your experience. Do you think that this recent episode and the one you had are perhaps related? I mean, you were arrested by the police over what the then PPR of the state called an unrest at Royal Spring Palm Estate. You were taken in for questioning and then eventually released. Has that matter been resolved?
Okay. Now I had the gentleman there in the name of the commission saying something. Okorocha is guilty. Let me clear that matter before I answer you. Let me tell you that it's not whether Okorocha is guilty or not guilty. I'm no longer in the matter. The matter is between him now, the government of Imo State, and the police. They should declare now who is guilty or not guilty. It will remove us out of this matter. Because the matter that has concerned both the police and the government, they have to prove themselves. Who has passed the allegation against them, they should answer. So that is on that note. But let me also remind you that you know, whatever you see this government say to you, believe me on my word of honor, this government is a lying government. You know, what people do not know is that from the beginning of this government, from the way they acquired power, from the way they do administration, it's all lie plus lie plus lie times lies. Now, to give you one of the examples, do you know when the President Muhammad Buhari came to Owerri to commission an escort chamber? It was an escort chamber I built that was recommissioned. And they made the president to spend his precious time to come and commission an already commissioned project. Do you know the Akachi Road that the Senate president came to commission was a road I built and commissioned? So this government can never tell you anything that is true. They brought down a 6th-floor hospital in a cuckoo that I built, only to replace it with the market. And the market is not even being built by now. So I'm not talking about, please, they shouldn't bring me into their lives. It's not true. So there's nothing about being guilty. I should wait. I'm waiting patiently. Uche is waiting. Let us wait to see what the truth will be. But at least Nigeria should be able to hear between the police and the Imo State government who ordered the arrest, who paid for the private jet, who naked Uche handcuffed him, who interviewed those boys that are being used as witness, and all those stories. The truth will come out. If not, then whatever I say to you next time, don't believe it. Okay. That's on that note. So, but asking about my case with the Imo State government is one of my shockers of my life. And I'm trusting that this President, Inspector General of Police, will give ears to that. I wrote petition to the presidency. I wrote petition to the Inspector General of Police. I wrote petition to Police Service Commission. I'm taking the due process of all. I said, look, I was wrongly arrested, and my human rights was being breached. Now, what do you expect? I was expecting the report will come back. Nothing has come back. That was the time of the previous Inspector General of Police. But I'm hoping that this IG will give attention to it when this truth unravels. Because whatever Rochas does, the quick way to dismiss this is political. It's political. It's political. So the truth is being hidden every time. Even when people are being killed, they say it's political. People are being maimed, it's political. For how long will political stop for the real issue to come out. But this last straw is the one that will break the camel's back in this country as concerned the government of Hope Uzodinma and Imo State. The truth will come out. So as it concerned, the matter is still kept there. When you saw an SA to a governor carry machete, removing his uniform, butchering my orderly, cutting his head, shooting my in-law, I was screaming. Everybody, Nigeria was screaming. Yet nothing is done. It's covered because there's a government in place who has his way with the system in Abuja. And so, but this one will expose them, and they will never be free from it. They will never escape from this one because it's obvious on this matter.
So, Senator Okorocha, I'd like to show our viewers, and hopefully you, a video. This video was shot last year, early last year. And so this is for our viewers and you as well. I'd like you to watch this video, and then we'll come back to get your response. Just taking a look at the relationship between Governor Hope Uzodinma and Senator Rochas and Hope. So do watch this.
I'm singing the song. We are united. We are united. As if we come away, we put the past behind. Excellent.
Excellent.
Okay, we're going now.
Excellent. Foreign exchange.
I mean, you saw the smiles there, you saw the handshakes, not once, twice. So, Senator Okorocha, I mean, that painted a picture as though, I mean, all was rosy between you and Governor Hope Uzodinma. I mean, judging from that video. So what exactly went wrong?
Well, let me explain that video. Let me explain that video very well to you. Now, when Hope Uzodinma was declared as the governor of Imo State by the court, I recall it was former governor of Zamfara State that came to me, Governor Yarima. I remember very well, a friend of mine came to me, to my office with the same Uche was, and insisted, calls from the party, he said, look, since this has happened, it's APC. We need to just go and show solidarity and show some support. I was at the airport. I chartered the plane myself. I said, okay, for peace to reign, let's go. So when I came to the place, I saw Shimola and Hope. They drove in, and Shimola started making that joke. And if you look at it, I was just watching them and looking at them. But that was not even the issue. The issue was I wanted peace in Imo State. I want to whether this whole madness of everything, like Imo is not stable, political issues, stop. Whatever it is, let's just go ahead. I even used a phrase at that time. I said, even Apostle Paul, that today wrote the whole New Testament, was a criminal. Let's see whether we can give support. And I went there. When I went there, the shout that greeted my arrival, he became to feel small. He felt scared. And since that day, I have not seen this man again till today. After that, I saw him once in his office. Till that day, I have not seen him, because if you call me, he wouldn't even pick up. He won't even talk to you, he will not respond. The next thing I heard that he said he wants to go on, he must deal with Rochas and Hope, that Rochas said he was going to run for president, so he must deal with me and all that. That's what I know, all kinds of petty stories that is neither here nor there. So I can't understand what is the misunderstanding between me and Hope Uzodinma. I don't even know.
Well, Your
because
Excellency,
we have nothing in common.
It's quite sad that we didn't get a full value for this conversation, but at least the much we have heard from you is quite instructive. And you said you want peace to reign in Imo State, peace which is a precursor to development, and that's certainly our hope as well. But we have to thank you. We're totally out of time. Senator Rochas and Hope, former governor of Imo State, founding chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.